93 WIBC. It's Terri Stacy. Thank you for joining us this morning. Well, it is summertime, and this is generally a time for me to do a little deeper cleaning at home. Out with the old. Just took over about 25 pounds of clothes to Goodwill, but I still have a stack that I just hate to throw away but I have to, or do something with them because these are things that are in too bad a shape, old tennis shoes and too bad a shape for anybody else to reuse. Joining us now is Gina Carruthers, and she's got some ideas that might surprise you on what you can do with those old clothes. Gina, how are you?
I'm great, Terri. Thank you so much for having me on your show today to talk about recycling those old clothes and shoes. And it's recycling in a way that is beneficial to people and to our planet.
Gina is with a national clothing recycler called Planet Aid. And Gina, tell us what Planet Aid is all about.
Well, Planet Aid is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that began recycling clothing and shoes about 17 years ago in the Boston area. Now we have about 22,000 bins, and we collect about 50,000 tons of clothing every year to keep those clothes out of landfills, help our environment, and to help people who are less fortunate.
Average Americans, we throw away a lot of used clothes, don't we?
We do. The average American throws away about 70 pounds of clothing per year. And you know what? We just don't realize that those clothes can be recycled, and that's exactly what Planet Aid does. We take those clothes and shoes that we don't want anymore, the mismatched socks, the holey T-shirt, and we find a purpose for everything. So we want it all. We call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. We will find a purpose for everything. Now, most of what gets donated will be reworn. For example, in Africa, about 80% of the clothing that's worn there is previously owned clothing.
Wow.
Now, what about those things people ask me all the time, like the mismatched socks, or I found one shoe but not the other? Well, there's a purpose for those items, too. They can be turned into other useful items. And I have some examples here that's really interesting.
Oh, good.
So, so people know, what do I do with that? What is that ever going to become? Well, we don't want it in the landfills because we can do something with it. So that old pair of shoes can become paving material.
Paving material? Do you say
paving material? Wow. Absolutely. Fabric scraps can become paper money. Sweaters can become baseball filling. That old velvet dress that you wore one time to a Christmas formal, that can become jewelry box lining. Coats can become carpet padding.
Wow.
Old towels. We all have those. Old towels and sheets and holey T-shirts. Those can become wiping cloths. And that old pair of jeans, your favorite jeans, you just don't fit in them anymore. I know I don't.
Yeah.
That can become your new home installation. So you can see how all of your old clothes can be reused or repurposed and given new life.
Explain what happens when clothes go into a landfill.
We just don't want clothing to end up in a landfill. The United States generates billions of pounds of clothing, and only 15% of those items get recycled. So that means 85% of perfectly reusable clothing ends up in the landfill. And when that happens, when old clothes get buried in a landfill, it contaminates the soil, it contaminates the groundwater, it releases toxic gases, and that's the huge problem with global warming today. And additionally, it costs American taxpayers over $600 million to manage this waste and to continue to build landfills. And here's just a little tidbit to put this into perspective. Every 2 million tons of clothing that enters a landfill has the same greenhouse gas impact as putting another 1.2 million cars on the road.
Wow.
And isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So let's just say that we all recycle a bag of clothing instead of just putting it into the trash. Let's recycle it. By doing that, we've just saved the environment from toxic gases, and we've given those old items of clothing new life. So whether it's worn and cherished by someone else or repurposed into building materials or carpet padding, we've done the earth a great favor by just donating.
Do you have bins that are sitting around, or where would we find you, and how do we get our things to you?
Planet Aid has done a lot of research, and we understand that people really do want to donate. People really do want to recycle. Everyone these days understands the environmental impact of not recycling. Sometimes clothing is overlooked. We recycle our bottles and our newspapers and cardboard, but sometimes we forget that clothing can be recycled too. And we want to make it convenient. We know if we make it convenient for people, they will recycle and they will donate. So we have our signature yellow donation boxes, and we locate them in places that people frequent on a daily basis. So at the supermarket, at the shopping center, at schools, at convenience stores. So when you're running out to get gas or pick up groceries, you can grab that bag of old clothes on your way, drop it into one of our yellow bins, and that's when the good work begins. And if you don't know where there is a donation box that's close to you, you can visit our website, planetaid.org, and we have right there for your convenience what's called a bin locator. You click on our bin, you tap in your zip code, and it will bring up a list of bins that are close to you and convenient for you to get to and drop in your old clothes.
Can't imagine in your 17 years of all of the good work that you have done. Again, we throw away about 70 pounds of used clothing every year, and that sends a lot of millions of tons of textiles straight to the dump, and that's not good. So learn more about Planet Aid and all the good work that they are doing. Again, for the website, Gina?
The website is planetaid.org. And Terry, I thank you so much for having me today. I hope we brought a little more awareness to clothing recycling so that everyone out there listening is inspired to do their part to help protect our planet and support people who are less fortunate. People who are business owners or concerned organizations can host a bin. It's a no-cost thing to do, and they can go, again, to planetaid.org and contact us. Or if you just have clothes to get rid of, find one of our bins with the bin finder on our planetaid.org and donate your clothes.
Gina, great job to all of you at Planet Aid, and you did teach us something today. So thank you very, very much. Again, planetaid.org. Gina Carruthers, we will talk to you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Terry.